Hi everyone, this is Mindy and welcome to my channel. In today's card project, I'm going to be creating an outdoors scene with one of the new stamp sets from the Postage Collage release with Waffle Flower. I absolutely love creating scenes with silhouette stamps, and now you can create something similar to this using whatever you happen to have in your stash. I just love that all of these are sized perfectly for the Postage Collage. Some of the products that I dug out to use today is going to be the original Postage Collage Die and the Stencil, and that is for an A2 size card. I also have the Postage Collage stamp set. This is the Forest Sunset silhouette stamp, and then a sentiment set. I started out by die cutting a piece of white cardstock using that Postage Collage die. And the cardstock I'm going to be using today is from Concord and Ninth. It is their white cardstock, which is beautiful for ink blending. I'm also going to be using the Postage Collage stencil. I think it's called Postage Collage Blocks, but it's going to do is allow me to color in those open areas. Now, you don't have to have the stencil if you're doing this particular card project. You could just mask off the areas on your Postage Collage grid, which I have done in a previous video. Again, I love having tools that just make everything easier. Now, I placed my cardstock on my grip mat, and this grip mat is from the original stamp wheel from Altenew. And I lined up the stencil over the top, and that grip mat is going to hold my cardstock and my stencil down in place. I wanted to create each block as a separate scene, and I wanted it to be an outdoorsy nighttime scene. I'm starting out with a sweet corn ink from Gina K Designs, kind of at the bottom of each of these blocks. I am going to bring a post it note in to kind of block off the other areas, just so I don't get any of that yellow into the area that I have planned out to be kind of a darker blue area for the sky. Then I'm going to come in with Emerald Coast, and this is going to be kind of in the center portion of each of those blocks. Again, using post-it notes to kind of block off areas. You could also use Masking Magic, which again, I have done in a previous video, and I can link that either up in the corner here or down below. I'm also using some small blending brushes from Altenew because those are just the perfect size to get into those smaller areas of each of the block. I could have just colored the whole bottom half of this in a yellow and done it that way, but I just think having individual scenes looks really, really neat. Now I'm coming in with blue denim. This is going to go at the very top of each of those blocks, blending that down into the emerald green. I think this happens to be a gorgeous color combination and one that I don't think I've used yet. I haven't really incorporated the emerald green or emerald coast into any of my blending yet. And this is a beautiful combination. Then I'm going to come in at the very tippy top of each of those sections, and this is going to be using a small or a detailed blending brush and black onyx ink just to really add that contrast and nighttime scene in there. Now, once my blending is done, I am going to pick up this entire sticky mat and I'm going to place this back into my stamp wheel. I guess I didn't need to remove it from the stamp wheel itself. I really could have just left all of this in the stamp wheel, but I find this really, really convenient because then I can line up my images and start doing my stamping. Now, here I did get a little bit of a head start doing my stamping, and this is going to be using that Postage Collage Forest Sunset stamp. There's a lot of words in there that are hard for me to say. And each of those I'm inking up with the Versafine ink. This one happens to be from Simon Says Stamp. It is just a really nice, crisp black ink. And I'm going through and just picking out different scenes from that stamp set and stamping them down inside of the blocks. They have a few different versions of trees. They have kind of a little hill, there's footprints, and then there's different animals like there's a moose, there are some deer. Now you can see on some of these, I am pushing a little bit hard. I don't recommend pushing that hard because you can distort your images a little bit. You don't see it much on the camera, but in person, I did kind of distort the images slightly. So don't push that hard. The reason I was pushing that hard is I'm trying to stamp on top of that stencil, and you can see there is a little bit of a line there at the bottom of each of the blocks where I'm not quite getting great coverage, but once I remove the stencil, you aren't even going to be able to tell. Then after I had all the trees and the hill in there, I added some animals. I have a bear in one corner. And then I'm also adding some images from the Postage Collage stamp set. And that's just having kind of those like cents in there, 30 cents. What did I have? The 50 cents in there, the postmark. So just some fun additional elements to really turn that into that postage collage theme that I love so much. I had removed that from my stamp wheel, and since I have that out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment. This is from the Sealed Sentiments collection, so there's a coordinating die for it as well. And I really love this one because it has some very general or basic sentiments on there that kind of go with that postage theme, but there's also a happy birthday in there too. So I think it's a really great kind of versatile stamp set to have in the collection with these postage themed cards. Then I'm going to line up the coordinating die, hold it in place with a low tack tape, and run that through my die cut machine. I also want to add splatters to my background because that's just what I love to do, especially for a nighttime scene. So I have a little bit of this bleed proof white ink that I mixed with a drop or two of water, and then I'm just splattering that onto the background. When I was doing my die cutting, I also die cut out that sentiment two more times from just plain white cardstock, and I'm layering them all together with a tape runner to help build up the dimension. I like that solid look with my sentiments. I have a top folding card base already prepared, and I'm lining the back of my postage collage with some foam tape from Altenew. Once I have a place or a piece of foam tape behind each of those blocks, I'm going to remove the backing of that, and then I'm going to center that onto my card front. And then I'm going to take my sentiment. I'm also going to add tape runner behind that and place that down on top of my card. The sentiment really looks good anywhere on the card front. I tend to really lean on the left hand side when it comes to the sentiments. Now, I used a white card front for my card base, but just by changing that background color, let's say you used a dark blue, is going to give this a whole different vibe. I just really wanted my colors to kind of stand out and pop, which is why I went with the white card front. Now, I will admit I am a collector of all things postage themed over at Waffle Flower. This is just the first one that I really, really wanted to play with. I hope this has inspired you, whether it's an ink blending combination or the postage collage theme. I hope it inspired you today. I will have all of my supplies linked down below in the video description and over on my blog. Thank you all so much for spending time with me today.